So I did that for 30 days, and it really leaned me out. Muscles were popping through. It was very
So
noticeable.
his body had just retained all of the water that he was drinking. And if you want to get big, you got to eat big. And if you want to, so to your point, you want
Yeah.
to push weight, you got to have.
You're talking about the effects of bone density. They're also showing a ton of research in the realm of what's causing Alzheimer's in senior citizens. Blaine Carson, you placed 8th in the CrossFit Open Masters 70 plus. You're 72 years old. You're still competing. I want to talk to you about the diet that you have in order to fuel your body to continue to work out at the level that you do. So what are you eating typically?
Um, in the last 2-3 years, I've switched to a carnivore type diet,
No.
a modified carnivore. In the beginning, I was strictly carnivore for 30 days and lost 20 pounds. So that's taking out sugar, just eating. Basically, I ate hamburger, steaks, eggs, bacon, cheese,
Okay.
and drank water. And so I did that for 30 days, and it really leaned me out. Muscles were popping through. It was very noticeable. People were making comments and so on. But I wasn't eating carbs, and you get the keto flu. Your body's wondering, well, where's the sugar? Where's the carbs that the fat cells love to eat and thrive on? So I had that, went through it, but I had to get some carbs in my diet to survive the CrossFit workouts, and I did it in December. And into January, and then the CrossFit Open was the end of February. So I really had to start eating carbs to get the energy, to get the drive. So that's basically what I did. Now I've included carbs like rice, blueberries, Greek yogurt, vegetables, asparagus, but it's not crap. I don't eat crap.
Right.
I have cheat days. We'll stop at Dairy Queen and get a chocolate covered ice cream cone, and occasionally like that. And then here comes M&Ms coming out with flavors. You've got to be kidding me. So, but I don't sit there and pound an entire share package of M&Ms.
Right.
So it's just 3 or 4 M&Ms and I'm done. Right. So, and drink lots of water, fluids. I drink whole milk. Anything that will help me maintain really what I've got going here.
Right.
And that's really what I do.
So even though you've added back in the carbs and you're not going strict carnivore, I mean, you're still eating very clean. You still care about the things that you're putting in your body that are not just proteins.
Yeah, I don't processed foods. They're pretty much gone. And pretty much. I mean, there's always something. You go to a party and you have a few Doritos with some salsa on it, or guacamole, or something
Sure.
like that. So yes, I do eat those things, but in rare cases, which is really what is important too. Anybody can eat anything. You could have a bowl of ice cream, that's fine, but just don't have it every day,
Right.
and it won't affect you. So just in what is it? What's the saying? Moderation in all things, and you're good.
Yeah. So Brandon does nutritional coaching and stuff like that, like coaching in general with the mindset of health and wellness. And he talks about, he has some clients that have a slice of pie and put on 4 pounds or something like that.
Yeah. One of my guys in October, he had gone 3 months without sugar. And when I say 3 months without sugar, it was, he was still learning all the different ways that synthesized sugar is in everything. So he was doing very well, and we were working through these, and he was learning more and more about what was not food, what is food, and how these things are manipulated, and in the U.S. And he'd been doing very well, and it was the end of November, I think. He'd been very good. Had gotten through Halloween, didn't do candy, nothing like that, and it was his daughter's birthday, and he's like, I'm gonna have a slice of pie with her, whatever it was. And so he did it, and he told me the day before, he's like, hey, I'm gonna do this. I was like, okay, cool. You haven't in months. You've been very, very good. So this is a good opportunity to notice how your body responds to it, if at all. I have had clients that can do that every now and again, and they have no notice. It's fine. Their bodies can handle it. I'm hypersensitive to sugar as well, so I just avoid it at all costs. However, for him, he did it, and he's like, I felt bloated and depressed, kind of a lot of the normal symptoms after having sugar if you haven't had in a while. And the next day he had picked up 6 pounds. So, and the 6 pounds, it wasn't, obviously not fat, it was water, because we have a very high water intake. So his body had just retained all of the water that he was drinking, and he held those 6 pounds for 9 days. He couldn't get rid of those.
Wow.
Yeah, 9 days he held 6 pounds of water.
That is some crazy right there.
Yeah. So after that, he's like, I don't know. He's 100% done with sugar.
Yeah.
And that was back in October or early November, and it's, what's that, 6 months ago now. Zero interest in having anything with sugar. It literally switched. That was his switch. Switched it all off. Yeah. Zero interest.
I don't even watch. I don't even weigh myself.
No. He's one of those data guys. He checks the scale every day.
Yeah.
He wants to know if he's making progress or if he's falling behind. For him, it's all growth or it's all decay. There's nothing in between, which I don't disagree with per se. He's just, his motivation is there. Again, some clients don't care about scale at all. I encourage them to get away from the scale, and this is how do I look versus how do I feel. That's the metric that we use. So I get them listening to their body more. This is my want for them. He's one of those guys. No, scale absolutely matters.
Wow.
So, okay.
And I'm kind of in a weird boat because I don't really notice whether I'm chubbier or skinnier. Almost like a body dysmorphia type of thing where I won't look at myself and be like, oh, that's looking good. Good job. And so I use the scale. However, in the same right, when I use the scale, I'm the heaviest that I've been in probably a year right now. And I am a little bit chubbier. And yet I also have had probably 4 people in the last month be like, well, clearly you work out, or, so it's kind of a weird juggle for me of attempting to like quantify my gravitational pull on the earth when I'm standing on this robot or this machine, and yet also not being able to look at myself and go like, you're getting a little pudgy around the midsection, that cortisol zone, and yet being hypercritical, I was watching our shorts from last week and I got this neck thing going on that I'm not a fan of. So I'm going to be hitting the gym and getting back on doing intermittent fasting and eating a lot healthier. I eat pretty healthy as it is right now. However, I would like to tone up and get back to where I was about a year ago.
Yeah. After I lost my weight with the strict carnivore, and I realized I wasn't pushing more weight, and Tiffany at CrossFit XA.
Yeah.
She says that's the weight pushes weight.
Yeah.
Weight pushes more weight. And so I'm at and I ended up at 190, and I'm up at 200 now, and I'm pushing more weight.
Yeah.
Which is a competing CrossFitter. That's kind of important too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very much an old adage from golden era bodybuilding that if you want to get big, you got to eat big. And if you want to, so to your point, you want to push weight, you got to have the weight, and you got to have the energy to do it. It sounds like you did the carnivore diet. You trimmed all of your extra fuel. You were able to grow and still have the energy because you were carrying around that fuel. That fuel's all gone. Yet now you've got to find it from somewhere. And I don't disagree with that, especially if I'm demanding my body to do more than just the norm, right? If I'm really pushing all of the different systems, I have to fuel those. It's not just fat at that point.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, same coach that you were talking about, Tiffany, I was doing deadlifts, and I had hit this certain amount, and then I decided I was going to start working on a calorie deficit. And I think I dropped from like a maintenance level of 2,200 calories a day or something like that down to 1,000 to 1,500. I was not eating much. I was very strict about it. And I started talking to her about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this calorie deficit. But I told her that I went back after doing the deadlift again a couple weeks later, and I think I was 30 pounds, 40 pounds lighter, and just no fuel in the tank. I could not lift it. And she's like, well, how are you eating? And I was like, well, I just started this calorie deficit. And she's like, that's it right there. And I was like, nah, really? Like,
Yeah.
that quickly?
Yeah.
And she's like, absolutely. And she's like, where are you at? And I told her I've dropped down to 1,000 to 1,500. I want to shed the weight quickly. She goes, Eddie, you're burning enough to where you could eat 3,000 calories a day in here and be fine. You're coming 4 or 5 times a week. You need to be eating. And so I went back to eating 2,500 calories, something like that. And then next time we did the deadlift, I just walked in there and went 15 pounds over my previous max and was like, oh,
Yep.
okay, got it, coach.
Yep.
Humbled me again.
I experienced the same thing with the deadlift. The last one I did was 295, and that's where I was when I was with at CrossFit XA.
Yeah.
It was 300, 310, something like that. And I'm just building back up now to where I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
So,
And it's important for people to remember as well. You're 72 years
Yeah.
old. Like,
and I don't think about that. That's not even in my mind. But yes, people do tell me a lot. Well, I only did this weight, or I only did this weight, but you're 72.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, we say it in a context that's super positive for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
it's, Blaine's out there being a monster at 72 years old. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize it might even be the most important time in one's life is to lift heavy or heavier, or just lift at all, because it's significantly important to bone density, maintaining bone density and muscle density. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in your demographic that tend to do very, very well mental acuity and physical acuity as they get, add those extra 15 or 20 years, doing significantly better because of what they're doing at your age right now.
Yeah.
It's really outstanding. I can't really stress enough for anybody that's listening. At any age, just go pick up things that are heavy. You're supposed to.
Yeah.
The body's designed for it.
Yeah.
And that's even if you've never worked out a day in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hadn't been in a gym in probably 8 years when I stepped into CrossFit. And I'm, going in there with my ego of, well, back when I was in the gym, and I got eaten alive, and I took it on the chin and went like, okay, well, I'm going to stop trying to ego lift, and I'm just going to be here. And I'm going to be here, and I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here until I'm getting better at being here.
Yep.
And so I just didn't quit. And I did it for a year and a half. That gym shut down. I started focusing on different ventures. And now I'm slowly starting to get back into the gym.
Yeah.
And I walk in there and I go to the coach and I immediately go, this is my 5th workout in 8 months, 9 months. What do you think I should be lifting? And, even when I go like, seriously, you're going to cut me down in weight that much? And then I end up doing that weight and I'm like, oh, thank God I chose that weight so low. Like,
Yep.
It'll kill you.
And one other thing I wanted to insert here too is that I, in the last 18 months or so, discovered I have chronic lymphocytic leukemia.
Oh, geez.
Now that sounds worse than it is, and the oncologist says if you're going to get cancer, then this is the one to get. So my mother, my mother and my oldest sister, I'm the youngest of 5, so my oldest sister passed away from that. And then my brother, who's 12 years older than me, has it currently. But he got it when there was more medical help available to him So he's reversed it now, and he's back. His white blood cell count is normal. Well, it's high, but it's acceptable. His and mine are the same right now. So I'm at a stage 0. The oncologist says the best thing you can do is just continue what you're doing. He said most people come in here and all they do is sit and watch TV all day.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are tough. He said, but I'm not on any medication for it. And so I think that's something that I never even thought about that. I haven't thought about that in days until just now when we were talking about that. So if there are those listeners out there that have something like that, with the advice of your doctor, you can do CrossFit. You just have to modify and take care and listen to the coaches and do what you're told. Don't go off on a tangent doing what you want to do.
Right.
You got to learn from them first, and everybody at all the coaching and owners and everything at Rado know it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I wanted to let you know that too.
The significance and importance of just moving, just move, just get up and go move.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, CrossFit might be way down the road for them. Just get up and walk.
Mm-hmm.
Walk after you eat, walk whenever you can walk. Just stand up. I have some relatives that are in very, very poor health, and it is a challenge for them just to get up off the couch to go to the bathroom. So the encouragement and what their goals are is every 15 minutes, just stand up. It's really hard for them to do.
Yeah.
Their circumstances is that dire. And so for you to be in your circumstances, say, I've been CrossFitting. I'm going to continue to CrossFit. I'm going to keep doing that because I know that it's helping me and my body function the way it's supposed to and continue to heal itself. Yeah. Just by moving.
Yeah.
Well, there's a guy on Instagram I started following recently. This man, young man, probably in his 20s or so, morbidly obese, and he just decided, I've had enough of it. He set some clear goals. His goals were something like to be able to ride his new Vulcan motorcycle. He bought some Kawasaki motorcycle or something like that, and he wanted to be able to ride it because he was too big to do that. And then his ultimate goal is to be able to ride to South America or something like that to go be with his wife, and he's going to move down there and he's going to ride the motorcycle down there or something along those lines. And it's just his journey into getting healthy. And I mean, it's literally starting with him just cutting back calories and him getting up and walking. And he was like, hey, I walked X 100 yards today, and he's big, but you're seeing it real life, real time. And you have to do that. You have to have something inside you change. For some people, right? If you're living stagnant, something has to be this catalyst that gets you off your butt and gets you out into doing something. And like Brandon said, maybe you're not just walking into a CrossFit gym if you're 200 pounds overweight, but I've seen that too. But maybe it is just getting up and walking. Walk around the block if you can. Walk as far as you can, come home, relax. But doing something that burns energy is fantastic. And you're talking about the effects of bone density. They're also showing a ton of research in the realm of what's causing Alzheimer's in senior citizens. And it's largely being attributed to the concepts of having too high of blood sugar, too high A1C. And so how do you clear A1C? You eat healthy and you work out. And so if people are concerned about the possibility of Alzheimer's, start working out. I am a diabetic. I got my little constant glucose reader on the back of my arm right now. I have to work out or I will not make it to your age, let alone be in the shape that you're in at 72. So it's a necessity for me if I want to live to see any type of legacy come to fruition. So it's so important. Take care of yourself.
Exactly.